Folks, the battle continues in the Los Angeles area to get control of the thousands and thousands of acres of land that has been burned. And it's not just land, folks. The homes of so many people have been completely and utterly destroyed. Homes, businesses, you name it. Whole neighborhoods, areas completely destroyed. You see the devastation right here. We're talking about the life savings, the personal savings of people who have lived in these homes for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. A lot of the attention has been focused on celebrities, but there are a lot of regular, ordinary folk, working class folk, who have lost their homes. Dozens of communities have been under a mandatory evacuation order in Southern California, with evacuation warnings affecting dozens more as crews continue battling these blazes that have destroyed Pacific Palisades, Malibu, and other areas. 10 people have died in these fires. My next guest family has lost several homes. Danielle Gray joins us right now. Danielle, certainly sorry. First of all, you're Nola's cousin. We were talking last night. She reached out to me. Glad to have you here, and certainly sorry for your loss and those of your family members. And it's just for people who don't understand. And again, I think a lot of folk out here, and how when you look at a lot of this news coverage, they focus on celebrities, but it's a lot of people who are not celebrities, who are not rich, who didn't have 5 and 6 and 7, 20 and 30 million dollar homes, who now are trying to figure out where do they go next.
That's true. That's true. My parents worked really hard for everything that they had, and just like that, it's all gone. It burned down to the ground. It's all gone.
When did first of all, where exactly were your parents' home? Where was it?
They lived in Altadena, so their home.
If for folks who don't know what Altadena is, explain what Altadena is.
So Altadena is the foothills right above Pasadena, California. So it's kind of like at the top of the mountain, and my parents lived on a private road where there were like 13 houses, and 11 of them are gone.
11 of the 13 are gone.
They're gone. That's my parents' home right there. That's their home.
When did it all start? Because this moved extremely quickly.
Well, it started, their power was turned off at 2 p.m. Today's Friday. On Wednesday. That's their home. Wow. Oh my God. And so they turned the power off at 2. And they said the fire was on the east of Altadena, and that it wasn't coming their way. So that was at 2 p.m. So they were without communication from 2 p.m. all the way until the end. But at about 3 a.m. in the morning, they heard someone on a bullhorn saying, "You need to get out, and get out now." And when they woke up, they looked out the back door, and the fire was in the backyard.
Wow. And that's the thing that, I mean, you've got people out here, folk who ain't even from California, folk who don't even know anything about wildfires, who have no experience whatsoever when it comes to forest management, blaming the governor, blaming the mayor. Oh my God, where's the water? And I was seeing other experts yesterday who said that you had 100-mile-an-hour winds. First of all, you said the power was cut off. So explain to people why the power was cut off. Wasn't it because of the winds? They were afraid that the winds were going to snap the power lines and that was going to spark fires?
Absolutely, that is correct. So the winds were very extreme, and they were ferocious, and they were. It was very windy up there. When I spoke to my parents, it was super windy, and so they were, they were battling that situation, and then so that's why they initially cut the power off. I'm just And at the end of the day, when that fire hit at 3 a.m. and it was in their backyard, it moved very quickly. It took the entire street almost out. I mean,
Were they able to, I mean, obviously, were they able to grab anything, to try to salvage anything?
nothing.
Wow.
They only had the clothes on their back, the shoes on their feet, and that's the only thing they were able to take. They were able to take their IDs, and that's it. I mean, everything else is
How long do they live there?
50 years.
50 years. 50 years. We'll bring Nola in here. Nola, one of the things that you said to me last night was, this is like going through Hurricane Katrina all over again.
Yeah. I get chills like every time I think about it, because it's the exact same situation in Katrina. You had to get out quickly and you weren't able to take anything with you. And my aunt and uncle's home is where a lot of our family evacuated to, including our grandmother. This was our stability. This was our safety. California, El Tadena, Redondo Beach, where we had set up, where we were all living in Hollywood. And yesterday, the past few days, all that was upended. And in one lifetime, our family has seen Katrina, and now this, where we brought the few memories, that people were able to salvage for Katrina. The photos or whatever, like, you should see us sharing the same photos, because so many of our memories are gone. It's complete devastation.
Danielle, there's a lot of blame happening. And I was at a friend of mine who's from California, we were in a group chat, and the question was asked, I don't understand how the homes in Malibu, which are on the beach, how did they burn and water wasn't used in the ocean? My response was, you can't send planes up with 100-mile-an-hour winds. It's the equivalent of a hurricane. And I think that's just one of the things that, like, when you start in a very calm way trying to walk people through, to explain to them what a natural disaster is, it's like, yo, you can run around trying to blame folk, but you've had, in that area, 8 months of virtually no rain, extremely dry. And a lot of experts have said that this catastrophe was waiting to happen, that firefighters always feared that when the winds went above 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, there was nothing that they could do. Had your parents dealt with fires in the past?
Yes, absolutely. We've dealt with many fires in the past, and nothing like this. It has not affected us in a way to where we actually had to evacuate and get out so quickly.
And what was so different for people who aren't there? What was so different about this time than previous times?
Well, I would have to say that the fact that they were not able to get the resources that they needed because of the winds. They couldn't get the helicopters up there. I'm not sure what happened on the ground level, because there was no water. When we went up to our house on Wednesday afternoon, it was still on fire. We drove through Altadena, my community. So many houses were still actively burning, and there was no water. The fire department was not present. So I'm not sure why on the ground level, once the winds did stop, why that didn't take place. I'm not sure why it didn't happen.
Well, as I look at several things, first of all, you have officials talking about how they are making progress in getting these fires under control. You also have some smaller fires that have broken out, and officials have actually said that more than likely that's arson. So even in a time like this, you've got yahoos who do stupid stuff who actually contribute to this. And I saw another piece that said that I think Manhattan is something like, I forgot, the story was like in Manhattan is 11 or 12,000 acres. And they said in this case, the acreage that fire has consumed is upwards of 17,000. So they said, so imagine if all of Manhattan and a few more thousand acres were completely burned. That's how massive this is.
It absolutely. My aunt's house is on Pine Avenue in Altadena, California, and the entire block, her entire block is burned down. There's blocks and blocks where both sides of the street is completely burned down to the ground. My junior high school is burned down to the ground. All of the stores, it looks like a war zone. It looks like we were bombed.
Matt, the thing that has really been getting on my nerves, and it really has been, a lot of these idiot media people out here running their mouths, wanting to blame, wanting to blast. I mean, look at this, y'all. This video here, they are literally driving through fire. Like you watch movies. Mm-hmm. You watch movies. Excuse me. You watch movies and you see that this ain't a movie. This is absolutely real life. And the thing that's really been, again, getting on my nerves are the folks who are yelling and screaming. You had first false reports saying the fire department budget was cut. You've had people who saying, well, water tanks were empty. But here's one of the other things is that, and Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong, normally wildfires start June to July and go through October. Yep. Y'all aren't used to dealing with wildfires in January.
That is correct, right? So, and normally around this time we've had some rain, a little bit at least, and California unfortunately just hasn't had any rain, and it's very dry. And so I assume that would contribute to some of the the way that the fire spread. I mean, it spread quickly. I mean, very quickly. Like it just, I don't know. Like it seems like it became an accelerant to the fire. I'm not sure. It's crazy.
Matt, this was today's Los Angeles Times. Everything is burned down. It said over 6,000 structures lost in devastating firestorm. That number has now gone up to 9,000. But it is really getting on my nerves, Matt. Listen to these people yell and scream and trying to place blame. You've got people like, oh, it's the Democrats' fault. Well, the Republicans didn't pass this here. It's a natural damn disaster. And for the people who keep yelling, you cannot send planes and helicopters up when winds are blowing 100 miles an hour. You can't. And when you're talking about thousands of acres, water hoses are limited. You literally need to have blanket drops from the air when you're talking several thousand acres. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, first, I want to express the utmost sympathy to you and your family, Danielle. I'll keep you in my thoughts and my prayers, and God willing, you find some kind of peace as soon as possible as you start to rebuild. But yeah, Roland, people are going to say things because they want to say something, right? Because this is a topic du jour, understandably. And we've talked about it. People have alternative facts. There's also no bottom these days. There's just no standard of decency where you don't speak on things that aren't true and you don't do anything beyond provide a kind word in a horribly tragic situation like this. One thing that I wanted to mention, though, is in reading one of the articles about this, I saw that Southern California Edison filed kind of a preliminary report that they may have a belief that some of their equipment may have contributed to this. And one of the things that I'm really interested in seeing that I hope the state of California or maybe even the feds find a way to get involved is that if that company is involved or there are companies involved, I hope that they are able to hold them accountable, because a lot of times public utilities have very, very strong immunities. I actually had a case where a person's house was burned down, an electric utility was involved, and it was very hard for us to hold them accountable because they have so many protections. So I say that to say, if this is something beyond truly just an act of God, if you will, I'm hoping that those people are held accountable, those companies are held accountable, particularly because I read that a great number of people there lost insurance coverage right before this. And insurance companies are already going to do everything they can to not pay meritorious claims, let alone claims where there are questions about coverage. So this is going to be a tragic situation all around. But hopefully, if Southern California Edison or other companies are actually partly to blame for this, the California legislature will find a way to let people hold them accountable.
To the point that Matt just raised here, Michael, go to my iPad. This is the Washington Post. Dozens of homes in the Altadena area, including some near Eaton Canyon, still had power when the Eaton fire sparked near a large transmission tower and distributed pole around 6:15 Tuesday. The fact that electricity was moving along transmission lines between Eaton Canyon's hillside and nearby homes at a time of high wildfire risk raises safety concerns, according to two experts interviewed Thursday. It has become routine for utilities in California to shut off power during red flag events when weather conditions pose the risk of winds downing electrical lines that could ignite vegetation. And again, those Santa Ana winds came roaring in. And look, I've seen some video that looked like a hurricane that I've actually lived through. And so this is why I would really like a bunch of people with platforms to just shut the hell up and stop trying to find somebody to blame when right now they are trying to put out fires, trying to recover body. People are trying to find places to live. They only have the clothes on their back. And so it's just, I wish some people would just shut up, especially a lot of media people. Just shut up. Michael, go ahead. Michael, you're on mute.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
Now
Can
you hear me?
Now go.
Okay. A lot of media people, a lot of disinformation agents, a lot of people blaming DEI for this, like Scott Jennings on CNN, and Representative Jasmine Crockett had to chin check him on that a couple nights ago. So yeah, you have all this taking place. You have Donald Trump calling for Governor Newsom to resign, and the traitor in chief and 34-time convicted felon is not providing any comfort or empathy for the victims either. And at the same time, I'm really concerned about these reports about insurance companies canceling fire insurance policies for victims there in California as well. So this is a huge catastrophe. And what I'm hearing from a lot of experts is that a contributing factor to this is climate change. Okay. And then you have those that deny climate change is happening. So first and foremost, you have to put out the fires, help the victims, things of this nature. My condolences to you, Danielle, and your family. This is a huge tragedy. And then we have to find out how this happened, how to keep it from happening again. But one of the things that I'm wondering is with insurance companies canceling these policies, is it possible in the future that we can have some type of government type fire insurance, just like you have the Affordable Health Care Act and government sponsored health care plans? Is that possible to have government-sponsored fire insurance for homeowners?
Right. Well, that's obviously up to the policymakers there. This is there was a news conference today, and this is what President Joe Biden had to say about the role the federal government is going to play with paying for a number of things regarding this wildfire. Listen right now.
This morning, due to the magnitude of the disaster, I was talking with the governor. He requested if I could increase the federal funding that was authorized under this legislation from 75% to 90%. We're increasing it to 100% of all the costs to be covered by the federal government for both the fire management assistance grants and the elements of what they call the disaster declaration. So today I'm announcing that the federal government will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days. This is going to pay for things like debris and hazard material removal, temporary shelters, first responders' salaries, and all necessary measures to protect life and property. And folks, I want to underscore, I told the governor and local officials, spare no expense to do what they need to do and contain these fires. And
because, of course, there's the inauguration in 10 days, and you have the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon who is going to be coming to the Oval Office, and he has a history of having disdain for Democrats in California. So this is to protect the state, to ensure they get those funds. I want to bring in another California family seeking help, the Jones family. Adonis, Denise, and Rochelle. They're also from Altadena. Their home has been in the family for generations. Denise's mother bought it as a young woman. Adonis, Coach AD, is a well-known former football star in the Pasadena-Altadena area who played for Pasadena High School and Pasadena City College. He went pro, but suffered an injury. He's been a popular youth football coach in the community for decades. They also have started a GoFundMe to help them start over. Coach AD, Denise, and their daughter Rochelle join us now. Glad to have you on the show again. Our condolences for what you're having to deal with and go through there, and so many other families. As I asked Danielle, when did this begin? When did you first were alerted that there were dangers regarding these fires? What day, what time?
Tuesday night, approximately 10:30, when we were told to evacuate.
So there's been a lot of people have been criticizing Mayor Karen Bass for being in Ghana for the inauguration, and people were saying, well, there were alerts before that. So let me go back to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Were y'all seeing it or feeling anything Saturday, Sunday, Monday that gave you an indication that, oh, there might be some trouble happening on Tuesday?
No.
Nothing that I can remember, no.
So the conditions Saturday, Sunday, Monday were just what? Normal conditions in Southern California?
Normal, yep, everyday regular conditions.
And then all of a sudden Tuesday comes, and in the daytime Tuesday, was it slightly windy? Was it what so when did all of a sudden things begin to just change?
Right. Like Tuesday, early Tuesday morning, we had the winds were picking up, kind of heavy, real heavy. Then like with the newscast, it said it might be fire involved. But, we done heard about fire before.
Yes, I mean, y'all, man, this is like I've seen the reports that, like, look, there have been fires and you've had winds at 40 and 50 miles an hour. Can you remember a time of Santa Ana winds 100 plus miles an hour, gusting that hard and heavy?
Not in my lifetime.
No, not that I can think of, no. Nothing that heavy.
So from a wind standpoint, y'all had never experienced anything like this. Plus, something I asked Danielle about. Normally, y'all are dealing with wildfires in June, July,
exactly,
through October. So all of a sudden, you're dealing with winds that you've never dealt with before, and a month, 6 months earlier than you normally deal with. And so for the average person, you simply are not expecting this to happen in January.
Now, we went from, actually, like you said, in January, we should be wearing a nice winter jacket, and the wind part, and it even tried to sprinkle a little bit as well that morning. But it was still warm, warning of the fire, and we just got bombarded with like all three that day. That's the part that was real spooky, plus a power outage.
So all of these things, again, moving, just frankly, converging. Y'all got the notice that night to evacuate. What were you able to grab anything, or was it literally get out now?
Well,
we knew the fire was happening. And because of where we live, We're at the base of the foothill. So I kind of told them, let's start gathering some things just in case. So we were able to get some paperwork, a few clothes, and that was really about it.
Well, after she said that, and then within the half hour, it turned into no. Like, now I'm like, let's go now. And she did mention they haven't said anything to us yet. But when I went up to the street, the way our house is sitting down, you couldn't actually see the fire over the mountain. So I walked to the street, and then that's when I seen the red sky. And I just told her, we kind of got into it. I said, we're out of here right now. I didn't wait until no patrol car came or nobody knocked on the door. Neighbors were in the street, discussing this matter about what time should they pull out. And that's what we ended up doing. It's time to take off.
This here is a video that gives people an indication of what those winds were like on that night. And pull the audio up, guys. That shows you right there just how fierce those winds were and how they were moving.
Right.
Yes.
In hurricane speed. It was just crazy.
And I'm from Houston. I've lived through multiple hurricanes. Hurricane Alicia, the eye and the tail came over our home there in Clinton Park community in Houston. I know what hurricane winds are. And when you're talking about gusts anywhere from 100 to 120 miles an hour, that's where I'm trying to explain to people, you could not send up helicopters and planes to douse the land.
No.
Right. No way.
No, I mean, it was the way it went, like you said, you could not. So the best thing to do was to vacate and just really pray to God and cross your fingers that your structure will still be standing in a day or two. That's the way it went. Like she said, we just grabbed a few things, thought it was just going to be a day or so. Ended up with, 3 pair of socks, 1 pair of shoes, and a jacket.
I'm gonna ask Danielle. I'm gonna come back to y'all. Danielle, I pose this to my panel. The blame game. The folks who will say, "Oh, Mayor Bass, how dare you? Governor Newsom, how dare you? Oh, Democrats, y'all made this happen. California insurance regulators. Well, the insurance industry had to make money, and so y'all put them in a difficult position." Are people having those conversations, or are folk like you and your parents and the Jones really wanting other people to say, shut the hell up? We're the victims, and y'all are just talking.
Yeah. People are having those conversations, and they are blaming a lot of people. Excuse me. It's still really smoky, but they are having those conversations. And for us, we just want to rebuild. We're trying to just get back to some sense of normalcy, and to see everything just go down like that, it is, you couldn't imagine. I mean, you see the videos, but to actually go there and see our house was still on fire when we got there to see it. My dad actually passed out, and he ended up getting burned. He ended up cutting his hand in 2 different places because he couldn't believe the devastation that he saw. So, no matter what happened, however it happened, at the end of the day, our community is burned down to the ground, and that's the bottom line.
And for the Jones family, again, this is the people, for people who outside who have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Altadena is its own city, correct?
Yes.
Pasadena is its own city.
Exactly.
Yes.
Santa Monica is its own city, right?
Yes.
Malibu. Is Malibu its own city, or are they part of Los Angeles?
No, that's their own city.
So
they're not a part of our family.
So, but all of these people, again, who are pontificating don't even understand that you're talking about literally municipalities that are individual municipalities. So it's not like this is all Los Angeles and all of that. And so that to me also, again, is also why I wish folks would just shut up. But what, Jones family, what do y'all make again of the blame game that you're seeing play out on mainstream media and a bunch of other people who are yapping on YouTube and other platforms?
Well, you know that the yapping and that kind of stuff, and like the lady said just now, with her watching the place burn, we're so much of a tight community right there, Altadena. The yappers, until you actually go through this yourself,
Yep.
I think you need to be quiet. Because there's a lot of hurt families. We have lost people to death for this fire, the tragedy, heart attacks, strokes, whatever. If you didn't move fast, then you might not be here today. So it was a training that we went through on the run. And you can't practice this. So it's a shame that anybody that has never been through it, lost their loved ones or their childhood home to burn to the ground, and now sitting in the waiting game of what so-and-so want to give you and this, and applying for all these different loans and getting stuff out of people's closet to cover your back, then I think you need to just really pipe down.
I'm gonna ask the Jones family this, and then Danielle's this. For the Jones family, was this the first time y'all had to flee your home as a result of wildfires?
No, it's the first time that I fled. When I came back, there was no home. But no, it's not the first time that I have had to evacuate.
Gotcha. So you've had to deal with that before. Danielle, same for your family.
My parents, there was one fire where we needed to evacuate, but my father declined to do so. We all left, but he did not. And fortunately for us at that particular moment, during that fire, and there were winds that time too, now that I think about it. He stayed though, and the house was fine. And so this time when they were told to get out now, he figured we'll come back tomorrow or in a couple of days and we'll still have a house like like all the other times. But this time, no, it's gone.
Nola, give our audience just the perspective, the historical perspective of Altadena and African Americans.
So first of all, my heart goes out to the Jones family and to my cousin. I love you. Our family's been through a lot, and we will get through this too. Altadena. So, a lot of people talk about Pasadena, and when they talk about Pasadena, they're typically talking about the Rose Parade. I went to high school in Pasadena, so I spent a lot of time and a lot of years there. In many ways, I guess the second part of my life, I grew up there. And Altadena always had this pride of place within a Black community because it was always this affluent Black area, but not the type of affluency that necessarily comes from everybody in the entertainment industry. Another huge misconception about everybody who may have property in California, that somehow you have to be adjacent to the entertainment industry. We're talking about families that work those good old 30-year jobs, those good old government jobs. My Uncle Roland, my cousin's dad,
he got a great name.
Oh, anyway, Roland. Anyway, the other Uncle Roland, he bought that plot of land and poured his heart and time and soul into it, and the beautiful backyard that you saw, that's a culmination of decades of love, time, and energy. And you roll through Altadena as a Black person, and there's this sense of pride that you feel because all these Black people own these beautiful homes, and they pass them down generation after generation. And I cannot help but to think about the similarity in New Orleans East. when Hurricane Katrina happened. That was another affluent Black area that is just gone. And so the things that I'm concerned about, what I saw that happened during Hurricane Katrina, first of all, there are going to be insurance issues. There are going to be loopholes. You know, did you have this type of insurance? I mean, there was a family in Katrina that the insurance companies contested. They didn't have insurance to cover the second floor of their home, flood insurance. So there's going to be all this stuff you're going to have to deal with. And then there's going to be people seeing opportunity, wanting to come in and buy land from people cheaply because they're vulnerable and they're desperate and they're hurting. So you're going to see that. And then, unfortunately, you're going to see a community that's going to try and come back together. And I hope and pray that Altadena is able to do that. But what I've seen is that it is nearly impossible to bring back that specialness and that uniqueness in a natural disaster situation like this. And then another point that I want to make about Altadena, I really hope and pray that the seniors, that the elders were able to evacuate. People don't understand about the aging population in Altadena because, like I said, these are generational homes. You know, these are people that, you know, worked for the post office and stuff like that. We are talking about seniors and elders in Altadena.
Yep.
And maybe some of them did not get out. I don't know.
Well, actually, that was one of the stories that I was just reading, that's what a lot of the firefighters fear. They said as they get these under control, the death toll right now is 10, and they fear that is going to go up dramatically because of people who didn't leave their homes. People who, I remember there was a video we posted that was two guys were in their home and literally it was fire on all four sides and they were still in it. And a lot of people, unfortunately, may have thought like what Danielle said her father did the previous time by saying, you know, I'll ride it out. And again, I know what that's like when you have family members who say, I'm going to ride a hurricane out. And you're like, you're not.
My daddy did it in Katrina. He got out the last minute and had to go to Xavier and was locked in Xavier for 2 days and he had to swim out. I understand.
Absolutely. I'll start with Danielle. Danielle, what's obviously, it's all about rebuilding, but what's next? What do you, for your parents and others, what do they do now?
That's a good question, Roland. We've been trying to figure it out day by day. We've been doing everything that we can do. We've been following the claims. Unfortunately, these insurance companies, they are not, doing the best that they can do. And they did cancel a lot of people in Altadena. They were planning to cancel my parents next month. Or where they were up for renewal and they were saying they didn't think that they were going to renew the policy, so the insurance is going to be an issue for a lot of people. Fortunately for my parents, it's not going to be an issue, but they are still trying to, lowball my parents, they're not trying to give the proper value. So that's a fight that we're going to have to fight. And I just hope that other residents in our community will stand firm and stand tall and fight and fight to the end and get what they actually deserve. They worked hard for it. And so I just pray that they don't walk away and they don't give in and that we, as hard as it may be, we rebuild so that we can continue to be there. And, Altadena is a great place to be. And I want to see Altadena come back to life. And I just hope that everyone has the wheelhouse and has the will just to stay and fight and just rebuild and just stay in our community and build it back up.
Jones family, where are you now? What's next for you?
Rebuild. We're going to. I have been in contact with numerous of families, homeowners or whatever, so we may say, and we have been chatting about staying strong, like she said, sticking around. We're not going nowhere, and we're ready for the fight. Far as the insurance purposes, what they want to lowball or whatever, our guns are loaded and we're ready to go.
Pull up the GoFundMe for the Jones family, please. They have posted this. If you go to YouTube, it says help Adonis, Coach AD, and Denise Jones rebuild after the fire. And so if you go to GoFundMe, you'll actually see that there. Also, you had a couple of major black law firms, attorney James Bryant, Rodney Diggs, Brian Dunn, Rod Davis, along with activist Jasmine Koenig. They also have a GoFundMe called LA Fires, the impacted black community urgently needs help. And so that is it right here. They have a targeted goal of $55,000, $9,500 has been raised. I don't, the amount for the Jones family, I don't have that one up. So y'all, but folks, please do what you can to assist this family, to assist these families. Danielle, do y'all have a specific one, or
Yeah.
what is yours?
Ebony has it. Nola has it.
Give me the name so I can search it, then pull it up.
Oh, it's Cristin's C. So Cristin is Cristin apostrophe S, and then it says Cristin's grandparents.
All right, let's see if we can pull that up. Control room, if y'all have it as well, go ahead and pull it up. Let me know. As Cristin apostrophe
No,
S.
Tin.
Huh?
Cristin.
Tristan, got it. All right. Tristan's grandparents. So guys, if y'all could pull that up. But again, we want our audience to assist. Again, this is a huge moment that people need. And so this is the time for our folks to step up as well. So we'll share all three of those GoFundMes on all of our social media accounts. In control room, y'all can pull up that Tristan one. Guys, go ahead and let me know. So again, let me thank the Jones family. Let me thank Danielle. We are thankful that all of your family members are safe, that y'all are healthy. And so, of course, no one wants to lose their belongings in a home. But as you said, Coach, homes can be rebuilt. Lives cannot be restored once they are over. So again, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you, Danielle.
Thank you. Love you too.
This is, and so again, for our folks who are watching, it is very easy. So go ahead and pull up that third GoFundMe. Again, it says support Cristin's grandparents, rebuild their home. And so you see that GoFundMe as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do screenshots of all three of those, put the links on all of our social media accounts for folks to be able to assist. And so again, I just really hope in moments like this, there are a lot of people out there who are pontificating, who are running their mouths, who are complaining, and who are calling folks out. There is absolutely time for all of that later. But right now, this is about saving lives. This is about saving homes. And we're not talking about just buildings. We're talking about people's literally life savings. Imagine every person who's watching right now. Imagine if your home and everything in your life went up in smoke. As a matter of fact, I saw this, the Jones family were able to get out. They said they drove away. I saw this one video of a sister. She got back. House was gone. Car was gone. Everything. She had no mode of transportation. There are people who weren't even in the city who were gone. And so, and also to people, don't get caught up in and listen. Whether you are a working class person or whether you're a celebrity, whether you had a house in Altadena or you had a house on Malibu Beach, gone is gone. And so I saw a photo of a billionaire's house who was gone. And so whether you're a billionaire or whether you are a thousandaire, last thing you want is to go through this type of devastation. And so I just need people to keep that in mind when folk are running their mouths right now.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free to download, free to use, next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.